Hello, everybody. Sorry for being late. Getting stuff out of the oven for this brand new show. Good news, bad news situation. We're going to get into that in a minute. I do have a guest with me, and we're also going to share out the link and invite anyone on with us who wants to be part of the show. So I'm going to put that into our comments section. I'm going to go make things private because that's a new thing with StreamYard. But what you need to know right now is that you are part of Week Ended. This is going to be a normal show on Fridays at 9 p.m. I know you guys are used to me being on with Devil's Advocate. I'll explain all of that in just a few minutes. For now, I'm going to give the room to Meredith because she's got some stuff, and she'll be the first official co-anchor of this. There is a chat in the chat room right now. You can enter to talk about the different topics. We'll rotate people in and out. But go ahead, Meredith.
All right. Hey, guys. So I am Meredith Lochran, and I am with Geek Insider, as well as Terraform Comics, as well as Indie Vent. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about right now was Indie Vent. I am about 7 weeks out until the November event. We have a cosplay option that we're doing. I am organizing that this weekend. So we're going to have some updates to the website. So make sure that you head over to indievent.com and bookmark that site because it's always going to have changes. I think we're always going to have events and it's going to be a lot of fun. But there's going to be a cosplay aspect to it. The really cool thing about November is that it's going to be a week-long event. So it's going to be from Monday through Friday. It ends on Friday the 13th. We are planning some really awesome guests. We have some separate panels that we're doing. And the theme around that is going to be kind of horror, crime, steampunk. We're inviting, because it's under the Geek Insider banner, it's not limited to comic books, but we are definitely inviting comic book creators. So, in the entertainment industry, we're looking at filmmakers, we're looking at musicians, we're looking at poets, prose, comic books, illustrators, all kinds of things. And again, we're doing a cosplay aspect to this. And because we're a few weeks out, we have something really cool that's lined up as far as having soloists, deadly duos, if you will, and then kind of a group aspect as far as the cosplay. Then again, we're going to be going with different panels. We're inviting shows, very much like our past Indie Event activities, where if you have a show, if you have a podcast, and you want to be part of it, it is going to be under the banner of a few networks. It's going out to multiple platforms, and then it is, hopefully a growth opportunity. And Rob knows, we were trying QRC codes, which are really cool because you can direct those to go to your seller's site or your crowdfund. And hopefully, I haven't heard any negative feedback from our previous event. I'm hoping that it was just positive, and I hope that you guys made sales. But that's one thing that we really want to try and focus on as well is entertainment, selling, and having fun. Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, okay, let's get down to it. As you guys know, well, how do I go about this the right way? I will be leaving Saturday nights. You will no longer be seeing me on Saturday nights, nor on Saturday itself. I'm going to start clearing the way to get back on the road eventually. Doesn't mean I won't be a guest on any show, mind you. I'm still going to do guest opportunities. I'm still going to go live with all the amazing people that I can. But we have officially, or I have officially come to the end of the Devil's Advocate. I did not like the fact that the Devil's Advocate's been an echo chamber for the last couple of weeks. It lost the ability for other people to come in and disagree and have that civil discourse. The Devil's Advocate might play in at a different point. It might be a special down the road. But this is all about building. This is all about building relationships and getting all you amazing people to be part of these shows. And one of the things I really liked is what we're doing with CNW. CNW has really become something. It is building excitement. I don't know. It feels right. There was a point where I felt like, and I said it to some people on these things, I felt like people were pushing me into a heel turn. And it was like, it's a wrestling metaphor where people kind of want to see that other side of you, that other gear, and people just want to be confrontational. And lately, I almost feel like I'm having that baby face push where suddenly I became the liked again. People really began to enjoy what we were doing, and they got excited about it. So, with that, the merchandising sales are going up. So here I come being a baby face. But more importantly, I really feel, I don't know why, I can't explain it. I just feel in a better place. I feel like I can do something positive, and that's what I'm going to do. There's been so much negative lately, and I've let too much of it dictate my path, and it no longer will dictate my path. So with that in mind, Meredith, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say I think it's a great thing that you're doing because a lot of times, and I did this all summer, I had to reflect on the things that were working, the things that weren't, what I wanted to do, and where I want to go. So, we only have so much time in the day. And with a lot of these shows and stuff like that, it's taking away from the creative process. If I'm sitting here, I can't write. And that's been frustrating, but at the same time, it's been hard for me to let go of some of my other programming as well because I love what I do. And I think it's a really good idea, Rob, that you're letting Saturday go because the world is eventually going to open up. We are eventually going to be going to conventions again. And, it's really nice to unplug for a day. I did most of that. I did writing this afternoon, and then I went and took a nap. I was unplugged, and it was great.
I mean, it's just also about giving them the best program. I don't want to put out a program that's not something that's going to entertain them. I was all in to do something if it was going to work on IndieVolt, and it's not a reflection of IndieVolt in any way, shape, or form at all. It's a reflection of just the times. Maybe people are just tired of debates and people fighting each other and arguing. Maybe we're seeing a point where people just don't want to deal with that and they want to see positive content. Either way, I think that these shows are going to help more. So what we're going to do is we're going to play the official entrance for this show, as this is now part of CNW. So you guys are going to see the brand new intro for the news, and then when we come back on the other side, I'll explain what this particular show itself is going to be about. So here we go. Let's play some bumps. Welcome to the Comics News Wire, where we get our news from the comics newsroom found at comicbookadvocates.com. This show is anchored by Mr. Anderson, who is the unboxable, advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. Join him and his co-anchors as they give you the comics news coming off the wire. This show is brought to you in association with... And now, normally there would be a bump in here for comic book advocates. I switched to StreamYards real quick today for just to be back on Geek Insider to do some stuff on here as well. So I don't have that. So Comic Book Advocates is the place that you guys can learn all about the amazing things going on within comic books. We've teamed up with Geek Insider to be their comic book wing, and we're covering the mainstream market watch and the indie news portion of it. And with that in mind, let me remind you to let me indie.
Let me, Indy.
Let me indie, even if I'm freaky. Welcome to Freaky Friday. That show will take place the first of every month. We will still be doing Freaky Friday as part of this show. But basically, this show is going to have a unique format, and we'll still deal with it on Freaky Friday, the same format, but we'll have deliberately creators in here who are dealing with things that'll be deliberately geared towards people writing things that aren't normal, the quote-unquote not vanilla world. So, and I want to give a bump to Geek Insider because we do have their bump in here. So check this out.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more. We have really cool music for our bumps.
We try. We
Yeah,
want to make it cool. We want you guys to be involved and happy. So what is this? What is this weird show? Meredith doesn't even fully understand it. I don't think that I've really done a fantastic job of explaining it because in my mind it's still being cooked. But here's the basic idea. So weekended, get it? Weekended is going to be on Fridays at 9 p.m. as the sign says. And what we're going to do every Friday is we're going to list off all the top stories. You guys will have just hours to pick the top stories. Now, I might start it on Thursday or Wednesday and start kicking in the stories as the week goes so you can start voting for it early. But you guys will have that control. So we'll go over to our site, which
I was going to ask you, Rob, where can they find this?
It's going to be, and I just have to look, the different StreamYard. Believe it or not, when you're in different browsers for different StreamYards, you actually have to check the difference of it because they each look slightly different. I don't know exactly why that is, but it is true. Okay, so here we are. So this was posted in the Comic Book Advocates Network, which you can see right there. We're going to have this. Here it is. It was posted yesterday at 8:32 when I told everyone right before at the Devil's Advocate that this was going to be a thing. So we put all of our headlines in. The only headlines I won't be adding are things like creators giving us a picture, and because there won't be anything to talk about. So that's why we're inviting you all. If you go to the chat right now, there's a way to get in. Everyone is allowed to be on here. And Meredith, also share it on your page. See if we can get anyone else. There you go, Meredith. Because we see live updates. Literally, you're doing it down there. I'm not going to stay on this page very long. We already got the top ones picked. And the reason I don't want to stay on the page very long is someone's going to message me, and then you're all going to see something you shouldn't see. Because no one knows their messages are going to be popping up on a screen. So that's why I don't stay in Facebook very often. Real quick, one of the top stories we had, though, is, and Meredith just keeps popping up, is Scoot Comics. This is going to be brought to us by Scout. And we're going to, now at this point in the room, we would spend a couple of minutes talking about the amazingness that this is. So this is actually on Facebook right now. We're going to explain what it is, and we're going to invite Meredith and anyone else who'd be in the room right now to be part of the conversation. We're all going to talk about it right now. So Scoot, it's an imprint for Scout Comics that's going to focus on 4 to, let's see.
I think it was 12.
It's either 11 or 12, but I'll read it to you guys right here. All right, so the About section. Scoot is an imprint from Scout Comics and Entertainment. Our focus is on younger readers. We publish comic books, magazines, and children's books. Our goal is to bring families and friends together to share their joy. Now, this wasn't the #1 story. Our #1 story picked by you guys was the episode 26, but this is the #3. So we'll start here and we'll work our way to the top story. That's deliberate. So I'm kind of going backwards. So we spend the most amount of time. We end the show with the story. And the reason you do that is so all you people continue to watch it, because now we tease the whole time. And I'll probably take screenshots of these so in the middle of the show, no one can vote and try to change the numbers. So you'll probably see a screenshot of this going forward. So the winners and losers of the virtual cons is something we'll talk about in just a few minutes. And we'll read off. So we're going to talk about She-Hulk cast Tatiana Maslany as MCU's Jennifer Walters. We're going to talk about The Mandalorian coming back. We're going to be talking about Scout creates Scoot. I read that backwards. And winners and losers from the 6 months of virtual events by Rob Salaskowitz. And then episode 26 of our good friend Vermin Sam. And we're going to get there in just in a minute. So for right now, we're going to go back and we're going to take a look at Scoot. So what do you think? Is this a good idea?
I love it. I think that the all ages and the younger readers are very underserved, and I really want to see more people doing this.
Look at what they already have. They have Loot showing up. I like that, and they have Senge and Tembo, I think it was, and they have Soul something. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names. That's why I can't really remember what that is. But hold on, we're gonna look at their photos and get it right. So it is. Let's see, Tembo, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually going to head over to their website. They've got scootcomics.com.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, from the looks of it, unless
I no. Last time I
that's
checked
the
it, it
wrong
wasn't
one.
up yet.
Oh,
I put Scout
well,
like an idiot. Hold on. That like it redirected to their main
I
site.
wonder. No, you know what? This might be Scoot
There it
McMahon.
is.
No, that is it.
Yeah.
Is it the right one?
Oh
No,
no.
I don't think it's the right one.
There it is. What are you doing to me?
That's why I said, hold on a second. Well, that's interesting. I better look up Scout Comics then.
There we go. There we go. Perfect place. Here we go. Kids get it. So, and now again, the doors are open. Anyone can come join us on this show and have a conversation, but it's very important because this is a brand new show. We're going to have some bumps on this one. So thank you for sitting through the pilot episode, everyone. And we're going to try to stay away from comments until towards the end of every single one. So as we're talking about it, it'll be the people in the room that'll talk about it. And then we'll go to the comments. But I agree, Meredith. I think this is a great idea. Soulstream is the name of it. And this looks fantastic. You need to have kids reading comics. It not only helps the comics, it helps our industry, and it gives you something to talk about with your child. I mean, I love getting Jack's a comic book and sitting there and going down all the things that are within that comic book so we can talk about it. It's a good gateway to sit with your kids and have something in common together. You could be reading your adult comic book, and I don't mean that by adult like adult natured. I mean like for older readers past theirs, more for your audience. And who knows, some of these I wrote a book that adults love that's for the same age group, so you never know what happens with that. So And then Meredith, do you have any other follow-up points on this?
No, I mean, honestly, I wish more people would do that, more publishers, and really bring the young readers to the forefront, because they're the next generation. They're the next generation readers. They're the next generation creators, and I think that we need more art in our life.
Yes, we do. I completely agree. And we put those links in there. They're getting out around there. And let's see. We got some comments. We have Pops who says, CromCon, I don't know, 7, right? His book. Yep. Thanks for helping to promote it. Appreciate you. And Next Gen Readers with Next Gen Creatives. Yep, that's basically it. And it's also just inspiring new readership is basically what's also going to go around. So again, you guys can join us if you're watching this. We will be on Friday nights in the future. This is an impromptu. This is also me saying goodbye to Saturday nights. Some of you guys are used to me coming in on Saturday nights. So our next thing, and Meredith was gracious enough to come on and do this. So we're going to find out about her fandom. The next thing we're going to talk about is, did you ever watch Orphan is the New Black? No. Orphan Black. That's no. Orphan Black. So this actress that was in Orphan Black was amazing, just simply amazing. And let me just make sure this video doesn't play. All right, good.
It is on my watch list, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet.
So she did an amazing job, and I'm just going to actually call up a picture of her because comicbook.com sometimes randomly plays things. That's why we stopped showing it so much. So we'll call up Deadline. So here you go. She-Hulk lands title. It's Tatiana Maslany lands the title role in the new Marvel series. She's amazing. She was also in the new Perry Mason. For those who don't know, on HBO they redid Perry Mason. It was rather good actually. Slow start, but really good payoff in the end. I really enjoyed it. So you guys are Gary. What's going on? Good evening. You're all welcome to come in again. You can all come hang out. This is an informal show where we talk about the events of the week that you all chose for us to talk about tonight. This is pretty amazing.
Now, Rob, do you want me to share the StreamYard link or not yet?
I already did. It's in the chat. If you know anyone who wants to come on, by all means, invite them. This is meant to be also a way for people to pop in, give their opinion, and pop back out. You only have to stay for one question.
You know what it is. I'm not seeing it on any of our Facebook feeds.
Facebook's been weird lately. If you can do that, that would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why it's not doing that. Sorry about that, guys. There is a link in the chat room. If you want a link, just message me or message right here.
I just put it in your. So anybody who's watching on Rob Anderson's Facebook feed, I just dropped the link to StreamYard there. I'm also going to head over to YouTube and drop it in the chat.
All right, yeah, that I put She-Hulk. Back to that. Look at this. CBR has someone actually drawing her. Oh, that's pretty cool. I think she's gonna make a great She-Hulk. That is awesome. I can't wait to see her start this. Of course, She-Hulk can never transform. She stays She-Hulk the whole time. This is amazing. This will wind up on a comic book, the Comic Newswire next week. Actually, you guys are seeing something we'll cover next week. It's going to be that awesome of us. And I really like what's going on. If you guys haven't watched Lower Decks and you have the CBS app, since we're talking about stuff that I'm a fan of right now, the Star Trek Lower Decks is hysterical. It is so funny. I really suggest it. Meredith, do you know what that is?
I have no idea.
So my son just gave himself a hickey on his arm. I got the message. It's never good when the message starts, "Don't freak out." And then he got a hickey on his arm. And why, Jax? Why? Jax is with his mom this evening, so come on in, grab a seat with us, talk about Lower Decks, which is a cartoon of Star Trek. Are you a fan of Star Trek, Meredith?
Yeah.
Which is your favorite?
You know what? As far as movies,
television series, just give me something. Throw it out there.
I love what they're doing right now. I love this new generation. Yes.
So imagine everything about Discovery, except they're all screw-ups and they're on a different ship and they're never getting it right. So it's like Discovery, but like not the B team, not the C team, not the D, E, F, G, or H team, but like the I, J, K teams right in there. That's right about where they are. Funny, hysterical stuff. It is amazing to see what they come up with.
Is it like the Island of Misfit Toys?
For the creators, yeah. for the crew and all that. Great characters though. It's characters you want to cheer for. I mean, like the boys. If you're watching the boys right now, like they're kind of a screw up team. Like they get more wrong than they get right, but every so often they just get it really right, and that's what happens on this. End of the day, no one loses anything they can't regenerate. So it's definitely what it reminds me of, honestly. It's like Star Trek watched Orville and was like, we can do that too. We can do that too. And they were like, watch this. I think that's why Seth MacFarlane hasn't given out the next Orville episode. He's like, damn, how do I up this now? They're making it cartoons. Why didn't I think about? And you would think Seth MacFarlane, of all people, would have made it a cartoon, but no, he did not.
You know what? That's that really sweet competition with creativity and stuff like that. Like, what is going to grab our attention, and that makes it fun. It does.
We need more fun in everyone's life. Everyone's got the stick up the ass, and that's not even their own fault. And with it being, the 2020. My friend had pointed this out to me, and I never thought of it that way. He's like, everyone's mad because of Barbara Walters in 2020, but no one ever took a minute to really watch 2020 clearly, because we should have all known this was going to be a horrible year. Barbara Walters isn't talking about petting puppies and kittens. 2020 was one of those shows where it was always something horrible. I found out about priests molesting children on 2020. And Am I surprised about 2020 now? No. I went out and got hurricane kits made right before 2020. I'm the only one who knew what was going to happen. I was like, damn, you could have told a brother. I didn't really watch 2020. I was a Dateline dude.
Moving forward, Rob.
So the other big news this week, Mandalorian is going to be back October 30th. My goodness. So we're getting Halloween taken away from us. But Devil's Night will have some awesomeness in the way of The Mandalorian, as they will be streaming. And usually Disney's good. It drops the first 2 episodes, and I'm sure they'll do something nice like that. It'd be amazing if they dropped the whole thing at once, but I don't see them doing that because they're trying to reel you in, keep you on the hook, keep you on the hook. They're going to give away some free starter kits, and then you're going to have to earn your way up. But they won a lot of Emmy awards, by the way. If you're looking on the side of the screen, they cleaned up 6 Emmy winner awards that I can just see there. Don't know if there's actually more. Can't wait. I don't think we're allowed to play it on stream, by the way, just because, copyright. And even though we're trying to help promote them, copyright. So congratulations for winning the Outstanding Music. They had Outstanding Production Design. And have you watched this, Meredith?
I haven't, and I'll tell you why. Star Wars, I grew up with the original Star Wars, episodes 4, 5, and 6, and I loved it. I grew up loving those characters, and then they ruined it for me. And they kept on going.
All right, so we'd like to thank Meredith for being on the show today.
No, but you know what? The only saving grace that I saw in this next generation of Star Wars movies was Rogue One. And I haven't been able to bring myself to watch The Mandalorian because I didn't want to be disappointed, especially after Solo. So Solo was kind of like the nail in the coffin, and I don't know. I don't know if I can.
But Baby Yoda.
I don't know the appeal because I haven't watched any of this. So,
trust me. If you trust anything I say, this is it. It's worth your time. Absolutely.
All right.
I was blown away.
All right.
If you like the original Star Wars,
the original Star Wars.
This is for you. This took me back to being a kid watching Star Wars. I'm like, oh my God, someone remembered what Star Wars was. Someone actually watched the original 3 movies and just didn't hear about it and made a movie after it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at you, all you Lucas. I don't know what you did in the 90s, homie. Clone Wars was a mess. Leave it at that.
All right, so you and Pops are telling me that The Mandalorian is Rogue One. It's good stuff. And I'll take you for your word because if not, I'm coming after you.
To be honest, Rogue One wasn't that good to me. It felt like they tried too hard. It was one of those movies where, as a writer, they left so much on the floor.
I think for me, it was such a great tie-in, and it answered a lot of questions for me. And I loved the fact that they killed everybody because I write like that, and it was just one of those things that was so impactful and so powerful that I was just like, yeah, I mean, that sacrifice for the greater good, I thought it was great storytelling. So if you're telling me Mandalorian is on that level, I'll dive in.
And there was some other Star Wars news that we're not going to get into, but check out our actual news, and you can find that by comicbookadvocates.com. Go straight to our newsroom, and you'll find out how one of the people are getting bullied on Twitter that are actually part of this. So definitely check that out. We're going to move on to our next bit of information. We're going to close them as we go. All right, that's going to be our top story. So where's our second to top story? We're missing a story, aren't we? We did the She-Hulk cast. What are we missing? We called it off. We did the She-Hulk. We did the Mandalorian. We did the Scoot. We had 5 that we wanted to do. We're going to have to look it up. I know you gave the link at the private chat, so let's see what we're missing.
Yeah, I'm looking for your poll.
Well, while I do that, real quick, I'm going to play a bump because I don't want to turn on Facebook and suddenly you guys see something you shouldn't. So we're going to talk about Terraform. Terraform Comics is changing the landscape of comics. subscribe at terraformcomics.com. All right, that was a very short bump. So
not too helpful, Rob.
yes, it wasn't what I needed it to. So, oh, here, check this out. You can tell I haven't been in this StreamYard in a very long time. all this crazy shit. Oh, did we play the warning? I don't think I played the warning.
I don't think you did.
Just so everyone knows, because Meredith's on the show and we have to play the warning. I've been told whenever Meredith's on the show, make sure I play it twice. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. And there we go. See, I have it all there. We got that one. That one's an important one. So what we are missing is, drumroll please. Oh, you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing, so that probably doesn't help. All right, I moved it for a second just so we didn't run into any problems when we came back from the bump. All right, let's see. We missing, and you see all this great stuff coming to you guys next week. It's going to be awesome. A lot of great stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking for your poll.
There we go.
There it is.
All right, so we did She-Hulk. We did The Mandalorian. We did the Scoot. Oh, the winners and losers. We didn't do the winners and losers
of the virtual events. Yeah.
Yeah, that we covered, and you guys can see the newsroom now. Here it is. So this was it. Winners and losers from 6 months of virtual events. Now, we weren't mentioned with the indie events, so feelings officially hurt. Feelings officially hurt. But they didn't name a lot of things either, so I wasn't that hurt about it because it was a very basic outline of everyone all at once. So they were talking more about what was going on and not boiling down to just specific shows. But I'm going to ask you, let's do the hot seat right now, and I'm going to get a picture of a seat burning. That I think will be the thing. I'll get a burning. So I'll have if you're an artist watching this, you want to make a seat on fire. Yeah, the hot seat. That or I'll take a picture of one of my characters who's literally on fire, and I'll put it up, and I'll be like, time for the hot seat. See the guy on fire. So there it is.
Yes.
We've been almost 200 days since we closed our borders, where today is officially the 190th day. And I track it just because of the You're Not Alones. And I didn't do a You're Not Alone today because some stuff was happening, and I still have to do a You're Not Alone. So don't think I forgot about you guys. I will do a quick one this evening. Maybe I'll even go from StreamYard. I never go from StreamYard, so maybe I'll go and I'll do it. Maybe I'll have Meredith on a You're Not Alone. Maybe we'll just go have fun and actually do a You're Not Alone and have the guest for the first time because we're at 190 days, so there are no more rules. And every night it's a different story. But what do you think, man? 6 months removed from when this all started officially. 6 months and probably around 10 days because of the firsts and all that. We're on the 19th. For those wondering, March 13th, we officially went into quarantine from Europe, China. As America, we cut down our borders. Just 5 days later, most states were given the orders to quarantine. And we have not fully opened yet. I originally started You're Not Alone with the expectation that we would have been back to normal by now. I did not foresee this because I thought we were going to quarantine and that was going to solve it because that was the big thing. We're going to flatten the curve and then it'll all be gone. And it just hasn't gone that way. I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm not going to speculate on this show about that. But it's still here. So 190 days later, all we really had is virtual events. What do you think of virtual events?
I think that there are. I'm hearing myself. Hold on a second.
Meredith opened up something somewhere. I'll go while she figures that out. So for me, I appreciate everyone who's done one. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate all the people out there. We were talking the other day how we've seen people rise and then plummet during this. We've seen people turn weird during this, but we've also seen a lot of people step up and try to do what they can to help the industry. We have Pops, who is in the chat room. He's talking about the Cromcom, and he's out there once a month trying to put something together, as he says, to help people. You've had the indie events that we have put together and we have done. There was that CyberCon, which, when was that? I want to say it was June. June or May. It was right around
May. I think it was May or June.
Because it wasn't the MegaCon event, because I think I went live on the MegaCon event. They were a week later. I don't remember, honestly. I might have stepped up. For a while, I was trying to literally do a show a weekend. And I was doing it just to keep people entertained. We're getting hundreds of views, but it's tiring, guys. And then it was funny. I did it for a month and a half, and then suddenly everyone started doing them, and I was like, phew, I don't have to do them anymore. I'll promote someone else.
Rob, I think you started with the GarageCon.
GarageCon, the weekend that Emerald City Comic Con's canceled. I got people together. We had them. We literally set up displays. We were out there doing what we could. A lot of people were very awesome about that. They took ideas that they saw, and that we've gotten people say, "Hey, I've taken your idea, and I don't want you to be mad. I took your idea." And I'm like, "No, man, go with it. Go with it." When I message Meredith when I see something we came up with, I'm like, look, it's catching. This is going to be a thing now. This is going to be awesome, because now, like, we see QRC codes suddenly popping up everywhere. And me and Meredith were talking about, and damn DC Nation for their DC fandom, where they used QRC codes a week before we were going live. And we looked at it, we were like, why, DC? Who's squealing to you? No, we were excited because we knew we were doing something right. If we were doing something that DC was doing, we knew that we had to have been doing something right. Because credit to DC. And again, you guys can come weigh in on this. There's the link there. So I know this might upset people, but I'm going to say it right now. DC Fandom, best show. Best show of the year. Hands down, beat any other show. I think Emerald City didn't have, but I think C2E2 still happened. But I heard that was because of the beer bug, it was weird. People all said people were acting weird and skittish. So I got to say, DC Fandom, which wasn't even a Comic-Con, but it was a virtual event, so that's what we're talking about. Amazing job. Amazing job. Hey, Mark Darden, how you doing? I think the virtual cons have at least kept things relevant. I think I know someone's using a Kickstarter for an online Comic-Con. They sold a lot of DC books. That's whose books they sold, Pops. They did everything they wanted to do. They sold DC merchandise. That's why it was called DC Fandom, Pops. Getting out there, doing all that, I love it. Get out there and support people. But you have now people using Kickstarter as a con online, and I know that's causing controversy, which is odd to me. I mean, it's an interesting hustle. I actually like the idea in theory, and I'm watching how they're kind of doing it. So I'm actually that. Mark says very well, and then LOL. I think Pops also was saying something about DC firing people, but that's just business, baby. People get fired in business. That's what happens. That's what happens. Happens all the time, Pops. Every year someone gets fired. Bunch of them. It's when titles don't sell well, you lose your job. It's the ugly. And you have to understand, in comics, if you're not an independent creator, you're going to get fired. Everyone in comics gets fired. It's like wrestling. Everyone in wrestling gets fired. Eventually, your time is done in the ring. You sometimes come back. You do the if you did a really good job while you were there, you're going to come back as the superstar. Well, actually, Pop says DC Fandom was a movie con. I'm sorry, no, you didn't watch the last one. They split it into two events, and the last one actually gave away a free Superman movie. So, and it wasn't a movie like Henry Cavill, who this week they're saying has signed a contract. I have not been able to confirm that. I think it's just a rumor. But they had the cartoon, and I told everyone, I was like, Meredith, you have to watch it. Meredith, Luke. None of my friends listened to me. I got to watch it. I did a review for it. It was awesome. But then they talked about comic books. We found out that 5G is going away. But they're going to use the things they liked from 5G, and they're going to implement them into other places. We've got to talk to Scott Snyder about death metal. And that, I always call it death metal, but DC metal, because it's from like Darkest or Death Knight or something like that. My dyslexia gets around it. But it's awesome. It's Batman playing a guitar. We got to talk to Scott Snyder about that and the team behind that. They started talking about future titles. And remember, DC is now not just a publisher, but they make movies. They make television series. You know, everyone's making that mistake. DC, that'd be like saying, well, Marvel, if Marvel did an online event, which again, Marvel, where the hell are you? I am amazed Marvel hasn't done something online yet. But Marvel does an event, you're damn right they're going to talk about their television shows. You're damn right they're going to talk about their movies. You're damn right they're going to talk about their comic books. They're going to talk about action figures. They're going to talk about toilet paper. If they get Spider-Man on toilet paper right now for the next second wave of whatever is coming, they'll do it just to make more money. I'm telling you, it's a business. It's always
going back to this virtual events article, I mean, basically, if you go through it really quickly, he's not impressed. He's not impressed. And you know what? Each one of the indie events that we've hosted, we try something new. We try something different because we're learning. Like, what do you need?
Well, if you read the article, you find out that it's one particular show that really got his goat. And I don't want to say it's San Diego Comic-Con because I don't want to give them bad press. That's not my job to say that, but it's what he said. So, and I have to agree. I was so let down by San Diego Comic-Con. I went in there so happy. I was like, and I didn't like San Diego Comic-Con for a while because they had sued the smaller guy about a name. And it was like, we copyrighted this. And I was like, oh, man, to be that kind of douche, whatever. But then they did everything pre-taped, and it wasn't great quality pre-taping. The cuts weren't great. They didn't integrate anything into it. It looked like what we do, just edited after the fact. And that I kind of was like, like you could have tried harder. And then DC Fandom came by and did a much better job. New York Comic Con has Meta Con, I believe is what they're calling it. The first try, they didn't do great. Here's the thing. People like to interact live. Pops is in here. He's chatting to us. You guys can chat to us. There's an excitement. You don't know if I'm going to say something fucked up and be able to screen cap it and share it with your friends later. And that's kind of the fun of watching something live, is that moment. And unlike the other news programs, this one will allow freer language because we're a little later at night. This is wrapping up the week. This is kind of, and the reason we're putting on Friday nights especially, we all get together on Friday night. We all sit around with our friends and bullshit about the week and complain about the week. And that's kind of what this show is going to be for us to get together. I don't know what's going to happen on Saturday with other shows. I just know that for me, Saturdays are going to be a day off where I spend time with my kid, or I just hang out with people and do my own thing. Or there's this thing comic book creators do, and when you're a writer, you're supposed to do it. It's called, writing. So that's going to be
what a concept.
I know, right? Like I'm gonna actually do some writing. So I think all the winners of this have been the creators who have not gone silent. I think indie creators have been out there shaking crowdfunding, saying we have not stopped creating, and I'm so proud of all the indie creators out there who have crowdfunded successfully. Credit to even like people like Luke Stone. Luke Stone had that Indiegogo slow start. Busted his ass, got it to a good point. And do you have Luke Stone's video in your room?
I do believe so. Let me double check.
Switch over to your room real quick, and maybe we'll play a bump for Luke Stone before we get on to our main story for the night. Again, I think we're going to close this out at an hour because no one else came in, and I'm okay with that. This show, by the way, will be geared to be 1 hour to 90 minutes at the most. 90 minutes will be if we have a couple people who come in. I do want an open conversation with everyone. I don't want to make anyone feel like they can't share or say anything. Did you not find it?
No, it's not in there.
Okay.
I can upload it, though, real quickly if you want to keep talking.
Oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go for that. So this show will no be. I want to do shows that are an hour, 90 minutes tops, and the reason for that is I want you guys to know an end is coming. One of the things I at first with Devil's Advocate, I wanted it to be an hour, and we kept letting it spill over. And I always found that, like in the last half an hour, especially if not the 45 minutes, people got tired of talking, or they'd been quiet for so long they started having diarrhea of the mouth. One of the things you'll notice on here is I will step on people to get them to stop talking when we have a full room, not to be rude, but to give other people the chance. So it's going to be, the more people we'll have, it'll be like a crossfire league. Meredith, real quick, in 2 minutes, sum it up. And I'll watch, and if you go over 2 minutes, time's up, next person on, because we want to have everyone to feel excited. We want that energy. Like the news, Meredith was actually the guinea pig for the news. I was like, hey, what you doing? She's like, I was doing the little bit of work. Well, what's up? I'm like, you got to come on to the news with me. I got to figure something out. She's like, I was going to write. I was like, so you busy? And she's like, no, I guess not. And I was like, all right, let's do this. And we played ping pong with the news. And
it was fun.
It made the news so interesting. It took what we'd been working on and leveled it up. And we've continued to do this. And we're going to continue to bring you guys quality content because it's what you deserve. It's what we're going to be bringing you. Of course, we want you to subscribe to Geek Insider on YouTube. That's going to be the next big thing we're going to push. I heard you have to get 2,000 people to be monetized now, Meredith.
Is it? I haven't seen anything like that. I've been looking for it though.
Like, oh man, but we're going to get there. That's the thing. We're going to get there. We're going to continue to work together. We're going to continue to do this because we love comics. And you know how, fingers crossed. Let me see. I don't know if I have it.
I'll be darned if I can find this bump.
Oh, it's always when you want something. It just,
I know, right? So frustrating. And we don't want dead air either, and we have the StreamYard link out, guys.
We'll switch over to our next thing. But I just wanted to really press this point.
Comics are awesome.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. There it is. It's still here.
I love that clip.
Oh, my God, that clip. I wake up in the middle of the night after a bad dream, and I watch that clip. That's how good that clip is. And, you kind of have to wonder, because, it's causing some controversy that, he's entered into the framework and all that. And it's like, Keanu, why did you create a comic book? Like, what inspired you?
Well, I used to collect, and I love comic books. And they were like, so, did you ever want to make a comic book? And I was like, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, making comics.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I got stuck in the freezer. Something fell in the freezer. I was trying to get a quick soda while the bump played. I didn't get back in time. But I don't think she's got it. I think that we're just going to have to say that Hybrids is on Indiegogo. Please support a fellow creator. Let's get to our top story and wrap this show up then, shall we?
Okay.
All right, so our top story this week, Wes, can you make it on talent alone? Our good friend over here at Catch de Craze Podcasts, and we're going to put this link in the chats for you guys. He was our top story this week, according to you guys who voted. And we're going to get used to people voting, and you're going to be able to choose the topics that you want to see on this show. So I thank everyone who did vote. This is something brand new. But it was a great topic, and it was something that he actually spoke very well about. You have to watch it to see what he thinks of it. But I'm going to ask you now, Meredith. Can you make it on talent alone?
You know what? That's a really difficult question for me to answer, only because, yes, you need talent, but you need a network too. So I don't know. I think that question is way too broad.
I look at it this way. Talent can definitely get you there. There are a lot of talented people who never did half the shit that I'm going to have to do in my life, especially artists. Artists do have an easier time getting noticed. They do. They get there. They're easier noticed. They can do fan art. They can go and get noticed, and that's just pure talent. A writer, and me and Meredith in the room right now are writers. You need to do more than be talented in this day and age, especially unless you know someone. If you know someone, if you got the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory golden ticket, you ain't gonna have any problems. But I don't know anyone who does. And Mark Darden says nope. And he knows, man. He's got Guano Guy on right now. We're gonna be talking about that coming up. It is hard pressed to get these types of things to happen on their own. And here it goes. Hard to work with and unreliable, absolutely not. I don't know what you mean by hard to work with and unreliable, absolutely not. Give me some context on that, Mark, because I'm kind of lost on it. But
I mean, so talent alone. I mean, if you can draw, you know, if you can do illustration and things like that, certainly you can put together some semblance of a book, and maybe you struggle through a story and stuff like that. But then eventually, you know, as you put your work out there and other people see either the value or potential in it, then I think you start developing those networks. So, I mean, if you're going solo, I think it's a little bit harder. I don't know. Like I said, I think that question is just so broad. It's very hard to answer that. Like where were they going with that question? I'm a writer. I can write prose and go solo and independent publishing and things like that, and that's fine. Will I be successful? I don't know. What is your definition of success? For me, it would be like, hey, if somebody besides mom and dad bought my book, you know, that would be great. That's a win for me. Comic books? I don't know.
And JD, if you want to jump in and have it, or Mark, be part of this conversation, we got about 10 minutes. We can go over by a few minutes if you want to talk about this, because this was a great topic, actually. We had not really talked about this topic too much, whether talent can get you there on your own. Because like Meredith said, it's kind of like the lottery. You know, if I just make a comic book with talented people and I just put it out there on Kickstarter and I raise $30,000 and I get picked up, that can happen. Fish Lee goes on to say, the hard part is if you can look at my art and see if it's good or not in 1 second. Reading a novel takes time to tell if it's good. This is true. And I've had a lot of times where, and I'll be candid here, with the Barbara Unleashed story, there was an expectation a lot of people had, so you had to be open-minded. If you weren't open-minded, you never would have read the book. You'd miss out on what people have called great storytelling, complex characters that are very much almost like a character study. It feels like it's based on a real human being. It's so grounded. You miss all that. With Monsters, not everyone liked the art. But because it was different. I liked it. I love the art, mind you. A lot of people got tripped up on the art. But if you read the book, in the lettering too, in the first issue, I screwed up because I lettered it my way. Knew all the rules, but I thought I'd match the cool art with cool lettering. Don't do it. Don't break rules until you're famous enough that people will put up with it. But by the time people are done reading it, they're like, wow, that's a really good story. So Fish Lee's got a great example. And then you go to Cat Dead and Supermom, where the art's jumping off the page. And even with Barbara Unleashed, I actually had I'm actually happy to say that Satine sold that book, her art, so beautiful for the first issue that I could turn the page. And Fish is right. It was the art that sold it 90% of the time. The concept and the pitch line was usually part of that sell, and only 10% of the time was it just the context alone that would sell itself. So JD is saying, I would, but I'm exhausted in watching people kick each other in the head. Oh, UFC's on tonight. Did a 14-hour. Ooh, boo.
That's tough. That's tough, especially if you have a commute. Oh, JD, get some rest.
All right, so we have.
But you know what, Rob? I think that would be a great special hour, is to get a panel on and talk about that. You know, and
I'll be honest, Meredith, I'm done. I'm over panels for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing against it. I think other people are doing it, so I throw the challenge out to someone else. Let someone else do a panel about it. I've done enough panels this year that I want to see other people. This is me passing the torch. I want to work on CNW from this point on. I've given up the devil's advocate. I'm here to help anyone who needs help. And Meredith, if you want to put the panel together, I'll show up and be part of it.
Mhm.
I'm just done being the one doing it. And the reason for that is I think we need more voices. And I think you can kind of agree with me on that, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. My intention was never to flood the airwaves with me. I want to flood the airwaves with content that is evergreen, that people can learn from and build from, and like Rob was saying, pass the torch, let somebody else do it, because eventually I just want to create stuff. I want to do the circuit. I want to have fun. I want to go to cons, and eventually I want to retire.
I'll be honest, there's going to be a time in my life where if everything goes right, I'm going to be doing something with Cat Dad and Supermom that'll take up half my day. Barbara Unleashed, hopefully be filming that as a These are the goals I have in life. When you're involved in production, you're not going to have time to do comic book advocates. Right now, I'm really trying one last push for you guys to get behind this. And I've developed something that's very easy to do. I've turned comic book advocates, and I think we're actually going to turn our homepage into just our news platform. And you'll go to find other things for the different things, for the different older stories. Because I think the newsroom really makes sense right now. It's an easy way to get all the stories, and the stories take you to bigger stories. It helps promote other places that are doing the work. I'm not just copying and pasting someone else's stuff. I'm literally taking their links, putting it in our thing, giving you about a minute's worth of context for it, and moving on, and letting them get the view.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to do. This is, to me, comic book advocates can be a legacy, and I'm hoping that someone, if not a bunch of people, like we're looking for co-hosts for the news, for Geek Insider shows too. I know, like Meredith is saying, she would love to step away and do a little more production behind the scenes, help you guys build shows, help build up a network. This is something we take very seriously. We want to see you all be successful, but we don't need to be the faces. I mean, I'm pretty well known that I literally live in people's heads, that something I said 3 months ago is still being talked about. JD said, do it. I'll show up. JD, that would be a perfect thing for you. Why don't you do a panel? I've never seen you run a panel of like 5 or 6 people. I would think that was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it could be geared around creativity. It could be art. It could be writing. I mean, there's so many things, and everybody has a unique voice, and what you bring to it would be amazing.
And JD, understand, I will help you produce it. I will sit in the back. I'm sure Meredith will let me use this StreamYard, which is given to me by Geek Insider. I don't think she has a problem with that. I'd produce the content with you. I'd work you through it. If anyone wants to learn StreamYard, I'm willing to help teach. I want us as an industry to help each other. So I'm here to help people. This is a choice right now that I'm making to just put my fingers in my ears and stop listening to all the hate, and opening my eyes to the love that's out there for the comic book industry. And I'm here for you all, and I want to be here for you all. And that means also showing you I don't want to always be the person in the chair. I was talking to Meredith just last night about this. I'm tired of being the person in the chair. I don't always want to be there. I'm not. I love talking about it, but I want to see other people rise right now.
I love the fact that you are building something with CNW, and I love seeing how it is kind of evolved into where you're going with it. And I like the fact that it's not just indies. Yeah, I said it. I like that you're adding some mainstream stuff, because, if they're going to pivot and do better by their consumers and their creators, and we hope that they are, and you're keeping an eye on it, I think that's important news to share.
I agree. And that's why we're doing it. We're going to continue to do it every day at 11. This has been brought to you by the CNW, which is the Comics News Wire. If you guys don't know, we do have a YouTube. We have not a YouTube. We have a Facebook, and I'm pretty sure we have a Twitter. And, Indie Event was, of course, the OnCon. We've kind of walked away from OnCon that we started with, and it evolved into Indie Event. This is, again, we take things, we see how they work, and then when they don't work, we change them, we pivot. And with that, the hour has drawn to an end. So what we're going to do is, I have an outro now. You're going to be so impressed, Meredith. Check out.
Right.
I'm done grown up. A done grown up.